So yeah, I'll launch straight into it. So I'm a feminist and I was also raised in a religious household. So the premise of God as a woman was very interesting to me. So what inspired you to write the show?
So God as a Woman is a show that I did before the lockdown, and then I'm only doing one date of it actually on the 9th of December in Leicester Square Theatre in London. So the God as a Woman show is based on I started reading a lot about spirituality and about religion and about traditions and rituals, and how important certain rituals are. And there's a reason that we celebrate birthdays, funerals, days of significance, because even if you don't remember the day in the calendar, like your body does, or like your body remembers specific time. Like, it's so interesting, isn't it? If you even think, like, if you read books like The Body Keeps the Score, and it's about trauma, about how traumatic events in your childhood can affect your body years later. And I think there's so many, not just trauma, but I think there's so many events that happen that we do kind of hold on to and remember. So my mum sadly passed away from cancer. It was horrific. And I didn't find the Catholic ritual supportive or helpful. I found it quite, it made things harder, actually. The specific church that we use, the priest that we use, like, it became very much more about them rather than about her or honouring her life or her family. Like, it was just not a very good experience. And I felt almost a bit cheated because I'd grown up Catholic and she was so Catholic. And I hated it. And I remember speaking to a friend of mine who grew up in an Indian household. And she was very much like, in their culture, somebody would be coming around every day to your house with food and make you cry. Like, you just had to cry every day. And actually that process is probably really healthy. That's what you need, is to release it all. Whereas in England, the UK, is very repressive. Like, how we talk about death or face death or grief is very repressive. So I started looking at these things and then just seeing how women are at the forefront of many rituals and many religions, and that women have been so integral to our connection, to the way we feel about ourselves and our lives and how we integrate with each other and how we've progressed forward. It's been women at the center of these great movements. Like, if you look now, whether it's Black Lives Matter or the Pride or the Me Too movement, it's been great women. It's actually been Black women at the forefront of all of them. And if you look at where we all came from, we came from Black women. And so then you kind of go, God is a woman. God's also a man, but God is a woman, and so then the show kind of, I'm a comedian, right? But I'm a comedian, like, I'm naturally funny, but real life happens. So when real life happens, you just talk about what you know. So that God is a Woman show came from that, really looking at rituals and then traditions, and then like it was my mum, so I'm looking at the mother, the matriarch, where is she? So, but I added in dick jokes, so it's still very funny.
So. Yeah, to keep them engaged, because that is something I've read a lot in interviews, that you say that the show's not just a series of jokes, like, it's an event. I guess, so what about
you're talking about? So so that's the God is a Woman show. The show I'm bringing to Brighton on Saturday is 10, which is the best of show. So that's a little bit of everything. So that's all my shows. So I've done What Would Beyonce Do, Am I Right Ladies, Politics of Bitches, and God is a Woman. So it's a little bit from everything that's coming into this show. And it is an event. Like, it's a celebration, it's fun, it's beautiful, it's really, like, uplifting, it's feel good. I think people are having such a hard time at the moment, and life's quite difficult for a lot of people, that we need some joy. And so that's what this show is. It's joyful.
I was also thinking about how relatable I find a lot of your sets. Like, I've seen so many clips, especially from What Would Beyonce Do. I love that show.
Oh, I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. Like, I want to make that show accessible. Like when I was younger in comedy, like, the people that I hung out with were people that had parents from, another country, foreign parents who were born and raised here, right? And I found it weird that in comedy, I wasn't having the night out that I'd have out with my girlfriends reflected in a comedy club. So I've got my girlfriends that might be Black, Asian, white, Polish, or wherever they're from. I didn't have any Polish friends, but never mind. And we go out and have an amazing night and have a brilliant night out. But in a comedy club, I wouldn't see that. So I was like, how do I make my friend's night out feel on stage? How do I do that? And that's when I created What Beyonce Do.
Especially because a lot of it is stuff where we as women are told not to talk about, like our bodies in that way and to understand ourselves in that way? Like, is it liberating for you to like do that on stage and get to do that all the time?
I think it's liberating for other women. I don't think it's liberating for me because I never saw it as an issue. So I always find it weird that other women are like, "Oh my God, you're so brave," and you're like, "Yeah, or you're just stupid, mate. Like this is fine, relax." Like,
Yeah.
you know. So that's kind of how I feel about that. It's nice. It's. I love how much other women go mad for it. Like I love it. It makes me so happy.
So you're playing the Brighton Dome, which
Mm.
is incredible, where we are gracing the same stage as people like David Bowie. ABBA played there and they won Eurovision. What does it feel like, I guess, to play at such an incredible venue?
So excited, so excited. I can't wait. I'm a bit in awe. Like I've never played there and I'm a bit in awe. I can't wait. Brighton audiences I've always loved. So whenever I've done work in progresses, I always started in Brighton. Brighton audiences are very accommodating, they're very supportive, they're very kind, they're very generous, they're very liberal, and they're very mixed, they're very diverse, and they're very gay normally. So you can really kind of go, it's a litmus test to be like, is my show going to work in front of the people that I want it to work in front of? Does it speak to the people I want to speak to? You do it in Brighton, you go, yeah, it does. That's what I want. Yeah, I'll take it elsewhere.
I love that.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Brighton audiences. They're gorgeous. It's gorgeous.